What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. As you could see from those first few shots, we just got some JDM parts for the wagon. I'm super stoked. Bean and I actually drove out to Sacramento this morning. We took a really loud, hot drive over the mountain. I went there to get this nose cut, disassembled a lot of it, and yeah, got this hood, the grill, headlights, bumper, and fenders. And I'm sure if you've been watching some of my other videos, you kind of know the reason for that stuff. And that is so that I can do a sedan front end conversion on the wagon, and then I can put flares on the rear so that it just has a much wider body on it. I really like how those wagons look with the wide body conversion, so that's kind of what I'm working towards with this stuff. This stuff I got a pretty good deal for because it was like mismatched. Obviously the hood came from a different set and so did the fenders. He didn't have the hood that went with this blue setup. He had already sold it. So yeah, I was able to get a better deal just by getting mismatched things. They are kind of beat up, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bummed about that, but you know, like check that out right there. That's like a pretty big size gash in that bumper. But fog mounts are still all intact, which is great. I was a little worried about it at first because this thing, they must have had like some sort of cold intake, and so that was like funneling up to hit the intake, I guess. But I was kind of surprised to see that they didn't actually mess with the fog light mount. Really stoked about that. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty banged up. So I realized that I have my work cut out for me, and a lot of this is going to be a pretty big learning experience because I've never used like body filler or Bondo or anything like that. So I'm about to learn. One thing I am very stoked about though is this grill. This STI grill is so sick. I think it makes the front end of those wagons look so much better. So I'm really happy to have that piece. And how cool is that, man? This little like Subaru emblem right here. I'm a little bummed I'm gonna have to like sand that down to paint match. Maybe I'll sand around it and just like leave a little spot if it doesn't show through. But also got these JDM headlights. Obviously they're like really like fogged over. So they need to be refinished. I don't even know if they work, to be honest. That's the thing with going through these importers. You never really know what is going to work and what's not, but I mostly went for the body panels. The hood, another thing that I'm really stoked about the hood, this is the JDM STI. It's the JDM STI hood scoop for the bug eye. We didn't get the STI here as a bug eye. And this hood scoop is much, much taller than the one that we got, and it just looks way better on the car. The hood also, the corners are pretty good, like all around here, pretty straight edges and corners, which I'm pretty stoked about. Back here, they might be a little off, but they don't look too bad. This one looks like it was maybe bent a little bit, but not bad. The only thing that sucks about it is right here we have a pretty big gouge. It's not too crazy, that can be filled in for sure. And then right here there's a dent. It's not too bad, but I don't know how to fix stuff like that, especially because underneath it's like another solid layer. It's pretty thick, it's like that thick, and so you'd have to like cut a piece out under there to be able to press that out from the inside, so that's not the way to do it. And I don't know how to pull dents from the exterior, but I'm about to figure it out. So yeah, hood, fenders, obviously, fenders are always in rough shape on these things. Whenever you find used fenders, they always look like this. Like these little tabs get bent. They're just such thin, like sheet metal. So these need some work. It was kind of bent right here. I think I can kind of work with that though and fix it and get it looking good again. But yeah, a lot of these like little tabs too can be like bent back into place. That's not too big of a deal. And they're really scratched up, but like in terms of like In terms of like big dents or anything, there's not really much of that going on. Similar to the other ones, there's like a little bit of bends right here, but I can fix that, and the headlight covers a lot of that anyhow. Same with this one. There's like a slight weird thing going on there that I think I should be able to fix. And then up here, that one's not looking so great, but like I said, got my work cut out for me, so I'm gonna figure it out. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked to be able to move forward with this phase of the build. It's no longer a budget wagon. You know, these parts aren't cheap, even though I got a good deal on this stuff. Yeah, for these JDM parts, man, they're becoming more and more rare, and the prices are just kind of getting a little bit ridiculous, which is another reason why I kind of wanted to jump on it now and get these before it just gets harder and harder to find them. So yeah, stoked that I got these. One thing that's cool about these fenders is it has this extra like blinker light on the side. I'm not sure if I'll be able to hook that up, but that'd be really cool if I could. Another thing about this nose cut that's interesting is like they always come with like radiator with the fans, which is kind of nice to have like a spare, I guess. I think these, I'm not sure what these are called, but they're for the headlights, because those are like a different, they have like a different type of bulb inside. And so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to hook those up either, but I will definitely look into that to see if I can use those. That'd be pretty sick. But yeah, the guy would not sell me just the bumper, grill, headlights, hood, fenders. That's all I wanted. But he wouldn't just sell me that. He said that I had to take this whole thing. And so that's what I did. He wasn't charging me extra for this necessarily, maybe a little bit because it came with the radiator. But yeah, he was just like, I keep it together and that's how I sell them. I don't ever like just part them out. So yeah, that's kind of what's left of it. I do want to hook up the AC back in this car at some point, just because it is really nice to have it. And I figured that out the hard way today. But yeah, this AC condenser actually looks like it's in a lot better shape than mine, which isn't surprising because a lot of these cars are retired at like 60,000 miles or sooner, which is just so weird. I don't really understand why Japan has such strict regulations with that, but they apparently do. Yeah, I'm basically gonna sand all these parts down and we're gonna paint match it to the Aspen White. I just feel like that's gonna be the best way to do this type of project since I'm new to like painting and body work and stuff. I do think I can lay down good paint on this stuff. I did it on the side skirts. I know I can do it again. I have painted other parts in the past and had good results. So pretty confident with the paint. I'm not a pro by any means, but I think I can make it look good and it can be something that I'm proud of. But I do want to keep the OEM color of the car just because all the door jambs are painted and I don't really want to go through the hassle of doing that, especially because like I don't really have a legit paint booth or anything like that. So, but yeah, just want to give you guys a quick update on this stuff. And I think now I'm just going to jump into probably just start sanding some of this stuff down, get it prepped for like some body work, and then keep going with it until it's ready to be painted. So I'm gonna jump into it and get started. I'll be working on this stuff over the next coming days. So I'll be putting videos together of my progress as we go. All right, so it's about like a week later. I've been putting in a lot of time on these front end body panels. I have the fenders pretty much ready for primer. I'll just kind of show you those real fast. So Yeah, I didn't show a lot of the process because it's so boring. It's just a bunch of sanding. I did put some Bondo filler on a lot of the big dents and deep scratches. There's another spot there. Pretty much all the like kind of teal looking colors, that's Bondo filler. So yeah, they definitely look a lot better. I really did my best to straighten them out. Like, I don't know if you remember that big dent. There's like kind of like a crack slash dent that was right here. Really smoothed that out, made it look a lot better. It's not perfect, but you know, my skills are pretty limited with this stuff. So I'm just doing what I can, and sometimes I have to just kind of stop before I go too far with it and make it worse. And so yeah, just kind of trying to get it to the point where I feel like it is a lot more presentable, and it's something that I think will look nice on the car. So now I'm moving on to the bumper right here. I went through it and scuffed it with 80 grit sandpaper. Got these big deep gouges, like nice and sanded and smoothed out. And so now I'm going to start bondoing the bumper. I'm gonna have to do it in small sections. Because that Bondo body filler, it dries pretty fast, so you don't wanna mix so much of it that it'll dry up before you can start applying it. I kind of learned that the hard way. That's one of the things that I've figured out through this process, which is also another reason why I haven't really showed much of that, is because I've kind of been learning how to use that Bondo. I've never used it before. So did some like test runs with the fenders. Now that I kind of feel like I have a better handle on it, I'll sort of show you guys a couple spots on this bumper, how I'm kind of applying it and using it to get out a lot of these big scratches. And like this one's almost got like a chunk of plastic missing out of it, so that'll be kind of interesting to fill in. But yeah, a lot of these deep scratches, I'm just gonna kind of smear it right over it, smooth it out, and then leave it and sand it down. But yeah, you can see a lot of this stuff needs some TLC. There's just so many scratches on this thing. Yeah, and like pretty deep gouges like that, that'll need to get filled in. But yeah, I'm just gonna start working my way through it now that I have it scuffed up with 80 grit. And then once I have all the Bondo applied, then I hit it with 80 grit again just to knock it down. And then I go back over it with like 180 or 220 and just smooth it all out, and then get the entire bumper sanded down with 220 until all of the clear coat is off at least, and just feather it out smooth until I can't feel any large scratches or imperfections that you would see through paint. So this really deep gouge on this side right here that I just showed you, I'm gonna start there. I've gone through this little section right here because I think I can probably do that, these gouges up here, underneath here, and maybe even some of this all at once. All right, so it's been about 20 or 30 minutes since I applied that Bondo. So it's all pretty hard now, as you can see. Yeah, it's all like hardened up. And so now I'm gonna knock it down with some 80 grit to start, smooth it all out, get it kind of shaped the way that I want it. And I'll show you how I do that. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just kind of sculpt it around and just keep sanding it down until it's smooth the way that you want it. Then once you're done with the 80 grit, you can move on to, like, I like to move up to like a 150 or 180, something like that, and smooth around those parts that have the Bondo before stepping it up to like a 220 to do the whole bumper. So I'm gonna start doing that now. This stuff is really interesting. It looks like a total mess at this stage, as you can see. But you know, there was a lot of just deep scratches on this thing, and I just wanted to make sure I got enough coverage. So I just kind of like went after it and put a bunch of this stuff on there, and hopefully it will make a difference. So I'm just gonna get to knocking that stuff down now, and hopefully I can get this bumper all finished up here shortly. So you can see from that initial sanding how I kind of just smooth it out. I'm not really trying to take off a bunch, just trying to get like the texture down. Like right here, see how it's all built up versus like a spot right there. So yeah, like that's all smooth. That's ready for like 180 or 150. Right here, I still need to do a little bit of work. This is ready for like some 180. And this is that spot where that deep gouge was, so you can see that now it's just gone. It looks way better. So yeah, that's a huge improvement. Once we put some primer over this, you won't even be able to tell that that was there. It's pretty sweet, pretty happy with that. So I still have a ways to go to knock the rest of this down. I'm just gonna keep working at it and get this bumper looking good as new. All right guys, so it is about a week in the future and I have everything masked off and set up. I have a little makeshift paint booth set up here in the shop. So I just like hung plastic around. I'm gonna close that up, but I gotta go back in there to kind of mix the primer and get my gun all set up. So when I step in, we'll close that off. And then I have these exhaust fans set up right here, sealed at the front of the garage there. Actually it's the back of the garage because my garage is a pull through, so yeah, so that'll give adequate ventilation. I have all the panels here, just nice and sanded out. Took it up to 220 for the high build epoxy primer that I'm gonna lay down. All of the Bondo body filler turned out really great, so I'm pretty excited about that. I had this big gash here that's now totally smoothed out. Looks really good. Masked everything off that I don't want primed, like the inlays here and here. And then also on the grill, this JDM grill here, have the inside masked off. And I masked off that really cool looking Subaru emblem that's on there because I want to preserve that. So there'll be a little blue square there, but you can't see it. So the next things that I have to do to get started on this, I have swept the floor really well. I also have a hose down there that's actually on right now. And so before I start to spray, I will wet the floor just to keep that dust down. It is just primer after all, but I just want it to lay down as well as possible because I know that will affect how well the base lays down. So I'll do that. I need to hit all of these parts with some cleaner. I'll just hit it with some 90% isopropyl alcohol, and then I'll go over it again with a tack rag. And after that's done, I'm gonna mix up my primer, make sure the compressor is good to go, make sure my gun's good to go, wet the floor, and then I'll start spraying. I'm not gonna show you guys the process of me actually spraying, just because this is the only camera that I have, and it's a really nice camera, and I do not want to get overspray on it. I'll kind of show the process of me getting everything prepped, and then I'll show you when it's all primed out and what they look like when they're all one color. All right, so finished up laying down the primer, and it's been curing for maybe like 45 minutes or so. It looks pretty good. There's definitely some spots where I got some kind of like goobers in the paint. Like, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, like this little spot there. There's like a little like, looks almost like a drip, but it didn't drip out of the gun. So I don't know why that happens. I know it's hard to see on the camera because it's so flat, but yeah, there's like these weird little dots. But you know, all in all, I think it turned out really well. These look way better in one color, which is really nice. And you know, those spots, I'll definitely be able to sand them down. I do need to wet sand this anyways, because this is like a high build epoxy primer, like I was saying. And so you do need to wet sand quite a bit, and then kind of go over it with some guide coat and take care of all of the high spots. So I'll be working away at that. But yeah, I think you can see like another one right here. Let's try to focus it better. I don't know if you can see that, but there's that little bump there. So yeah, there's just like some little things here and there that happened. A little like weird, I forget what you call this little nib type of thing like that. But overall, I think it laid down pretty good. Full disclosure, I did not have the appropriate size tip for that primer. The guy at the paint store, it's a professional paint shop here in town that I go to, and I get all my supplies from them. And the guy did tell me that I could just like back off the air on my gun and still use it with the size tip that I have. This primer called for like the largest size, like a 1.7 tip, I think, and mine is like a 2. So it's not like too terribly like large, but it is bigger, and so maybe that's where some of those imperfections came from. I'm not really sure. And I did get some like runs right here, just a little bit. It's not too bad. That was kind of the only spot where I had runs though. One thing that's really weird about the bumper though is, I don't know if you can see like all this weird texture. It looks kind of rough right there, and then same with the other spot where the fog light goes to, like right up here. I don't know if I just didn't sand well enough right there. I'm not sure what that is, to be totally honest. I don't know. Yeah, you know, and like I didn't feel anything weird. It felt very smooth, so I'm not really sure what that's about. But overall though, I mean, massive improvement. So pretty psyched about that. And I'm just gonna be doing my best to sand all that stuff down and get it like perfectly smooth before I lay down the base coat. I'm happy to be done with this stage of it. I've been really trying hard to get through this stuff. It's been really busy at work for me lately, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on this and make these videos for you guys to see the progress, but I'm doing what I can, and I am gonna keep pushing forward on this build. I have a lot of stuff that I am saving up for that I plan on doing to the car in the future, hopefully this summer even. So still a lot of content to come, but it's gonna be a little bit slow for putting out videos in the next like probably month or two, but I'll be doing stuff as often as I can. And yeah, but I think I'm gonna wrap this video here. This is just kind of part one, was getting these parts all sanded down and prepped and putting them in primer. And then in the next part of this series for this wide body conversion, I'll be wet sanding, laying the base, laying the clear, and then installing these parts on the car. So I really look forward to that, and so you can too if you're interested in watching these videos and seeing how this turns out. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna wrap it here. Thanks for joining, really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please like this video if you are enjoying this content and you want to see more. And until next time, peace out, everyone.